Hello, this is Aaron Kohler from the IT Factor Pod, and you're listening to an excerpt from my interview with Senior Instructional Designer Ian Kohler from Drexel University, which was recorded on April 15th, 2018 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy. You mentioned now that you're at Drexel University, you've been there for 4 years, correct?
That's correct, yeah. It'll be 4 years in just a couple weeks, actually.
So once you got your foot in the door at Drexel, explain what your initial role was at the university and how your job has transitioned from when you first got there to now 4 years down the road.
Sure. I started at Drexel as a junior instructional designer. I was one of 3 people they hired in a department which serviced several schools on campus, including the College of Engineering, which I worked with briefly, the College of Computing and Informatics. So they did things like cybersecurity, computer programming, and such. And the School of Education, which is where they were born out of. And I never really worked with the School of Education directly, but the 3 of us who were hired all were assigned to different programs. And the structure of the group, we were junior instructional designers working underneath a senior instructional designer. So I got the input from people who had been in the field already. The woman who was assigned as my senior instructional designer was also a graduate of the Bloomsburg program about 20 years prior. So she had been in the field for a long time, but she was still familiar with the concepts they taught, still knew some of the professors just through networking. And it was a very comfortable transition for me. And it was also very rewarding to see my program pay off. The other 2 people who were hired, one was a high school teacher who transitioned into the field, and another was actually, I think, from an admissions department at Drexel and then moved over into the instructional design field. But once the 3 of us were being onboarded, I found very quickly that I was light years ahead of them in my knowledge and the application of my skills, and then also working with someone who knew what I was capable of going through that Bloomsburg program. We were able to work very effectively together, and the program that we both worked on the most was called the Master of Legal Studies program at the Klein School of Law at Drexel. It's one of the newest schools on campus, and this program was actually just starting up a few months before I was hired. They actually launched the program and built their first few classes. So I had a hand in building some of the initial classes in that, and transitioning from some corporate work, some sales training work, into the educational environment was certainly a trip, but it was a right time, right place thing for me, because as that Master of Legal Studies program grew and the Klein School of Law matured, they found the need for a full-time instructional designer at the senior level. And after about 1.5 years of working in that junior level role, I interviewed and then was hired as the senior instructional designer for the law school, where I've been for close to 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in the summer. And since then, from my junior level, we had about 10 or 12 classes built, and we've more than doubled that since I've come on full time for them, building classes that are innovative, interactive, faculty making sure they're well versed in their pedagogy, and more importantly than anything, making sure that our online students, this is a 90% online program right now, making sure our online students have access to the most cutting edge technology, the most cutting edge access to resources possible, and that the faculty who are delivering this content are comfortable in that technology as well. So great challenges, but I was very well set up for it, and the transitions, I couldn't have asked for better ones.
Yeah, that's great. For 3 years, as you're 30 years old now, so at 27, you get bumped up from a junior instructional designer to a senior instructional designer. So would you like to tell us a little bit about what an ordinary day or even an ordinary week is like at Drexel University doing your job?
Sure. Yeah. At the law school right now, we run our classes on a module by module basis, meaning that every week new content gets released. They can still go back and review the prior week's content. Sometimes one week builds on the other. But for the most part, assignments are due every week. So there's some kind of check-in with every topic that's covered to make sure students are understanding the concepts. And what a typical week for me is managing the classes that are running in that current term. So every week something new is opening up. It's me combing through these classes, helping the faculty, who are at least 75% of them at this time are adjunct professors, meaning that they're lawyers by day or something in the legal fields by day, and doing this by night, so to speak. I'm helping them comb through their courses, make sure all of the links that they have in their work, the assignments, all of the points add up correctly, that all their videos or lecture material are recorded and posted on time, and just communicating with them on a regular basis. So that's the day-to-day in the short term. And at the same time, during the week, I also have some long-term initiatives, which include developing new classes or onboarding new instructors to teach current classes. So I have training programs that I developed and built out that I'm working on launching for this summer. I check in usually on an every other week basis. I drop timelines with faculty who are developing new courses and every other week, and I stagger them so I don't spread myself too thin running, from one meeting to the next every day. I spread them out that I have these check-ins where every time we check in, something is due from them, whether it's a revised syllabus, whether they're going to work on workshopping learning objectives that day, they have ideas for assignments, they've looked over the websites I've sent them for open educational resources and identified some readings that we can use outside of maybe a textbook. So I'm constantly interfacing with faculty there. I don't really deal with the students. We have a central IT group who handles the technical issues there, but I do get to know the students just from seeing the names pop up in and out of classes, hearing faculty gush about good work that they've done on certain assignments. We actually have a Fulbright scholarship recipient who just came out of the program this year, which is really exciting for us. And the program, as it keeps growing, we keep getting more and more faculty, which brings me back to the training initiatives and those long-term things. Staying current in the field is probably the thing I spend the least amount of time on right now, but want to spend more on. So as I'm developing this training initiative, which I mentioned I want to launch in the summer, that's going to speed up the process of when we hire new faculty or we're training new faculty on teaching in our program. They're going to go to those resources a lot more than me walking through them, holding their hand. And that's going to open up more opportunities for me. I still set aside 2 hours a week to read research articles and news and blogs, and 2 hours to actually play around in some software, whether it's setting up templates for interactive modules and things like Adobe Captivate or Articulate Storyline, or just developing some of my own resources, like recording interactive modules, walkthroughs, videos, something like this, like a podcast. I like to dabble in those kind of things and also research the new tools and how they might fit best in the classes that we offer, and then try to convince the faculty to give it a shot.
I hope you all enjoyed the excerpt from the IT Factor Pod, my interview with Ian Kohler, the Senior Instructional Designer from Drexel University. A lot of insightful things from him about being an instructional designer at a prestigious university such as Drexel, and I hope you all enjoyed the IT Factor Pod, and we'll tune in to the next episode to discuss more technology-related topics in education. Thanks, and have a great day.